In this video, we're going to talk about stakeholders, their involvement in Scrum, and how to manage them as a Scrum Master. In short, I will go through each section of a Scrum guide where the word stakeholders is mentioned, and I will guide you on how to put all these points into practice. There's a lot to cover in this video today, and I promise that I'll try to keep this video as short as possible. So let's start first with the role and responsibilities of a Scrum Master. As per the Scrum Guide 2020, the Scrum Master serves the organization in several ways, including helping employees and stakeholders understand and enact empirical approach for complex work and removing barriers between stakeholders and Scrum teams. To really understand the first point of this section, we need to understand empiricism, which simply means working in a fact-based, experience-based, and evidence-based manner. As a Scrum Master, it's really important that you teach the team about empiricism and support them in using the empirical process to make decisions. But that's the easy part of your job. You also need to do the same thing with stakeholders, middle management, upper management, directors, sponsors. That's the hard part. Well, it might be depending on your company. Really complex to do, to coach them, to teach them on empiricism, simply because we have been using for decades a defined process instead of an empirical process. A defined process consists of a set of steps that need to be followed in order to achieve a goal. These steps are often followed in a sequential order. Reminds you of something? Yeah. There's a popular project management approach that typically uses the defined process, the waterfall model. The waterfall model, popular model, where planning is done for months, even years, prior to starting the actual work. You do planning first. There's a project manager, owner of a project, the number one person who owns everything in the project, decides on everything, shares information to developers, but not too much, tells developers what to do, which tasks to do, by when to deliver stuff, each milestones, set deadlines for owner of a project. During the planning phase of this project, a list of requirements is drafted, estimated by developers, and the planning is done with a release date set and communicated to stakeholders and customers. Often using this model, requirements are pretty strict. You can't change it. No one cares about the market, what's going on right now. It's a project that might span across multiple years, but no one cares about the market. Requirements are set up front. Analysis is done up front, taking months. And then we start development for the next coming months until the release. No one cares about the market. We don't even look at the requirements. They are set in stone and we use the same thing. Now, if you've been following this channel for quite some time, you know what Scrum is. You know what Agile is. And you realize that there's a huge difference between this defined process, waterfall model, and the empirical process, evidence-based, fact-based, experience-based process used by Scrum, where we release early, every single sprint. We are putting things in the market, working increments, variable working increments, getting feedback from customers, using these facts, evidence, experience to build better products. We really care about the market. We are not analyzing stuff for months and then starting development. We don't care about that. We analyze right now. We look at what the market needs right now and we give that to them. This huge difference needs to be explained to stakeholders, and they will not understand it. It's really hard for a stakeholder who has been working for decades in the waterfall model, defined process, to tell them that there will be no planning maybe for the next year. We'll plan every single sprint. You get a release every single sprint. Not a big bang approach, but we are so used to. The strict and enforced release dates, timelines, deadlines, gone. Simply gone because there's no use for these. In Scrum, you get a release every single sprint. But someone needs to explain that to stakeholders, and it should be the Scrum Master. That's option number one. Your role as a Scrum Master is to explain the stakeholders Agile, Scrum, so that they are not impediments for the team. Because if they don't understand Agile, they don't understand Scrum, they will be slowing the team down and preventing the team from creating a good product and put it to the market, a product that the customers will want to use. Explain Scrum to them. Explain Agile to them. Second option is explaining Scrum and Agile to the team. The empirical approach to the team. You have to do that. Explain that to the product owner, the developers, and let them use this information when interacting on a day-to-day basis with stakeholders. I prefer this approach because the team will be able to coach the stakeholders in each interaction. Tell the stakeholders, okay, we won't be doing this way. We will be using this approach instead. The next point from the Scrum Guide is removing barriers between the Scrum team and stakeholders. For me, that's one of the most difficult things that the Scrum Master needs to do. It's easy to teach the team, coach the team on Scrum, work with the team so that we can define their process, the working agreement. That's easy. But the relationship with stakeholders might be less straightforward and less cordial. Oftentimes, stakeholders, they don't care about Agile, they don't care about Scrum, they don't care about the delivery method used, they don't care about that. What they care about is release dates, timelines, deadlines, reports, a lot of the things that they won't be getting with Agile, with Scrum. And it's really hard, especially if a stakeholder has had a negative experience in the past with Agile, with Scrum. As a Scrum Master, you should be trying to bridge this gap and really make them understand Agile, make them understand Scrum so that they are not impediments for the team. Because if they don't understand that, they will slow the team down. The product owner decides what to do. Owner of the backlog. The developers do it. It's a unit, a single team working to fulfill the needs of a customer. They can work alone. They don't need the stakeholders. The stakeholders, if they don't understand Scrum, they don't understand Agile, they will do things to prevent the team from achieving their goal, the product goal. So coach them, mentor them. Really hard to do, I know, but you need to do it as a Scrum Master. Next, let's talk about the product backlog. As per the Scrum Guide, the product owner is one person, not a committee. The product owner may represent the needs of many stakeholders in the product backlog. Those wanting to change the product backlog can do so by trying to convince the product owner. This section alone, if not used correctly, will result in many Scrum implementation failures in Scrum implementations, simply because stakeholders don't understand that the product owner is the owner of a backlog. The stakeholders, middle management, upper management, they still feel that it's a command and control approach, that what they decide they want in the product, this needs to be done. They don't need to convince the product owner. They are the owners of a backlog. The product owner is simply a middleman between what they want and the developers of a team. That's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. The product owner is the owner of a backlog. There shouldn't be 15 captains on the ship, on a boat. Nope. The product owner, the only owner of a backlog. If people want things to be included in the backlog, requirements, anything, convince the product owner. Let the team work. As a Scrum Master, you should be teaching, coaching, and ensuring that stakeholders understand this key point. Because if we don't follow this guideline, we are not using Scrum. I don't know what you're using, but what you're using is not Scrum, and as a result, you won't be getting the benefits of Scrum. Next is the interaction with stakeholders in the sprint review. As per the Scrum Guide, the Scrum team presents the results of their work to key stakeholders and progress towards the product goal is discussed. During the event, the Scrum team and stakeholders review what was accomplished in the sprint and what has changed in their environment. These two statements are pretty straightforward. First, the Scrum Master should support the team in building this product goal. You can watch this video on how to do that. And second, explaining to the team the importance of sharing progress in the sprint review, getting feedback from stakeholders in the sprint review. Really explain that to the team. Being visible. Visibility is extremely important. Transparency, extremely important in the sprint review. Don't overcomplicate this. Explain to stakeholders also the importance of giving feedback. What will be their role? What is expected from them? And including, when I say stakeholders, I mean customers also. If you can invite customers to the sprint review, please do so. Really explain to them that with their feedback, we will be able to build better products. Again, you have two options here. Either you as a Scrum Master, you coach the stakeholders, or second option, you coach the team and let them talk with the stakeholders. I prefer the second approach because it helps the team be self-managed. It helps the team build a relationship with the stakeholders and helps them grow. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.